So this video won't be too long. I'm not going to show you how to jack it up. I'm not going to show you how to take off the wheel either. But in case you've never done your brakes, it's a 6mm hex right here to take that off. Hopefully somebody didn't go Hulk style on that. It should be pretty easy to take off. You'll probably just be able to whack it and you'll see it come off. Because I put NSCs on mine. Yeah, see? And then let me get this off and then I'll show you on the back of the rotor where it mounts to the hub. Okay, so I said rotor. It's not the rotor. It's the caliper. So that's to remove the caliper, but since we're replacing it, we're using our different bracket to do the small brakes for the 15-inch conversion. Don't worry about these two right here. We're going to worry about these two right here. These are the two that mount the caliper to the hub itself. And that's the other one. It's a size 16. Top and bottom. That one and that one. So here's a little bit of helpful information. Usually works for me. I'll clean this up right here around the hub or the ring, whatever you want to call it. And then as well as this, and I usually apply NSCs for the reason being the rotor doesn't rust and get seized on there, and it's pretty easy to take off. I already did the front brakes. I'm working on the rear. The first three came off really easy. As you can see, I've already replaced these brakes before, but this one I did have to hammer it off. I don't know if you can see some witness marks right there, you know, in between the where the studs are. Just try to smack it with the hammer to break the rust loose. But that usually does help in keeping the rotor from rusting and seizing on there and becoming real difficult to remove. Okay, so before we mount the rear rotor on, we're gonna have to you're gonna have to trim this brake dust shield. I believe right here on the outer edge, maybe, I don't know, let me get something. I'll say probably. This is what I use to cut it, to be honest with you. It's pretty easy. Maybe trim about that much. I think that's about what I did on the other side. And then I just cut here. Once that's cut down, and then cut up here and just bended it back because it gets in the way of the bracket for the new caliper. I'll show what it looks like after I finish that. So that's what I cut off, and then I just ended up cutting that off, the little top piece, which is right there as well. And then I just ended up cutting, there's a slit right here, just cutting to that, cut that much, just bend it back. You should have clearance right here between your control arm. See, I can fit a finger there. And that should be enough right there to have enough clearance for the mounting bracket that's going to come down this way, and that's not going to touch on the control arm, so you'll be good like that. And as far as on the calipers themselves, so of course you're going to have the bleed screw go up. I'll go ahead and put the fitting in there, loosely put the hose, that way you can rotate it as you need it when you're mounting it. This bracket on the inside, VTT is going to be facing upward. And I'm going to take this off and then mount that to the car and then put the caliper onto this bracket. So I'll put this onto the hub. But I only had it on there so I could weigh this setup, see how much it was. So these longer ones in the middle, so you do have 4 of these and 4 of those. These are going to go in the center right here, because this is just pass through. It passes through and it passes through on the hub. On this end, you're going to button it up with a nut, and these are going to be too short if you put them here. This is the one that's going to mount the caliper to this bracket, and these are the ones, these mount the bracket to the hub. But there's no threads in the hub. Like I said, you'll use these on the inside Oh, and by the way, you want to mount this first because the tolerances right here to the hub is very tight. So if you mount this to the caliper and then try to mount this to the hub, you're going to struggle. So these tolerances are super tight. They could have made them a little bit bigger, so you could do it that way. But being that they're that tight in tolerance, you're better off mounting this to the hub and then mounting the caliper to the bracket. So that's how you're going to want to mount it. The bolt's going to go through, PTT is going to be up, and the nut's going to be on the back side. So this is what it looks like fully assembled. As you can probably tell, the brake pad does not touch the center of the brake rotor. It doesn't go all the way towards the center. But that's the way it's going to be because of the design of the brake kit and the rotor size. The caliper size and the clearances in the back. So that's it. Oh, I forgot to include one thing. I guess that's the bleeding procedure. There's two fittings on top of the caliper, at least on the rear, that I don't remember on the front. And those are 1/4 inch bleed screws. And then the fitting that goes into the caliper, and then the hose end that goes onto the fitting, and then the other fitting, the other end of the hose that connects to the actual brake line of the car, that's all can be installed with an 11mm or a 7/16. (17.6) for the rotor itself. We'll reset it right now. Let's see what it says with the caliper, hose, bolts, brake pads, and the rotor. .2. And mind you, my brakes are the 340, 330 rear. So the fronts are the 340s, and I believe the rears are the 330s. So they're the single piston rear calipers. So they're smaller ones. .6. It's a rotor, hose, mounting bracket, all the fasteners, brake pads, caliper, basically everything. So 19.6. So just rotational weight, since these I'm sure are off a basic like 325 or something. It was 14.2, I believe, for the actual caliper. Let's do that again. Man, sorry, the actual rotor of the caliper. Yeah, 14.2 for the rotor.